Have you ever wondered why you're always the one checking your phone first? Why do you notice shifts in tone before anyone else does? Why do you remember birthdays, moods, silences, and unfinished conversations that others seem to forget? Why it feels like you're constantly adjusting yourself so relationships don't fall apart, while others stay exactly the same? And here's the question that quietly haunts so many people, but rarely gets spoken out loud. If caring this deeply is supposed to be a good thing, why does it hurt so much? Stay with me until the end, because there's one burning question we're going to answer fully. A question that might completely change the way you see yourself and your relationships. Is being the one who cares more a weakness, or is it actually a misunderstood form of emotional power? If this topic resonates with you, make sure you subscribe to this channel, because we explore the psychology of emotions, attachment, trauma, and healing in ways that actually make sense of your inner world. Now let's begin. Being the one who cares more doesn't usually start as suffering. It starts as love, attentiveness, loyalty, depth. It starts with noticing. You notice when someone's energy shifts. You notice when replies are shorter. You notice when someone says, "I'm fine," but clearly is. Your nervous system is tuned to connection. You don't just hear words, you read subtext. You don't just experience moments, you store them. Psychologically, this trait is often rooted in high emotional attunement. People who care more tend to score higher in empathy, emotional intelligence, and relational awareness. Your brain is constantly scanning for emotional cues, micro-expressions, changes in tone, patterns over time. This isn't accidental. It's a learned adaptation. Many people who care deeply learned early in life that connection wasn't guaranteed. Love may have been inconsistent, conditional, or emotionally unpredictable. As a result, the brain learned to stay alert. Caring became a form of safety. If you care enough, notice enough, give enough, maybe you won't be abandoned. Maybe things will stay okay. This is why being the one who cares more often feels exhausting. You're not just loving, you're regulating the emotional temperature of the relationship. You're holding space. You're anticipating reactions. You're adjusting your tone, your needs, your expectations. You're doing emotional labor most people don't even realize exists. And here's the painful part. Emotional labor is invisible until it's gone. People rarely thank you for how much you care. They benefit from it quietly. They get comfort, stability, forgiveness, understanding, while you carry the weight internally. Over time, this creates a deep imbalance, not just in effort but in emotional cost. One of the most common psychological experiences of people who care more is chronic disappointment. Not dramatic disappointment, quiet disappointment. The kind that builds slowly. The kind that makes you lower your expectations without ever announcing it. The kind that makes you say it's fine when something inside you knows it is. Your brain starts doing math you never wanted to do. Who reaches out first? Who apologizes first? Who explains themselves? Who tries to fix things? Who stays emotionally present when it's uncomfortable? And eventually, a painful realization forms. The relationship survives not because both people are invested equally, but because you are. This is where the suffering truly begins. Psychology tells us that humans are wired for reciprocity. Our nervous systems feel safest when care flows both ways. When it doesn't, the brain interprets the imbalance as a threat. This activates anxiety, rumination, and hypervigilance. You may start overthinking conversations, replaying moments, analyzing what you said, what you didn't say, what you should have said differently. Not because you're weak, but because your system is trying to restore balance. Being the one who cares more often means you become the emotional anchor. And anchors don't move. They hold. They stay. They endure storms silently so the structure doesn't drift apart. But here's something most people don't talk about. Anchors rust. Over time, caring more without being met creates resentment, even in the kindest people. And that resentment doesn't always look like anger. Sometimes it looks like numbness. withdrawal, emotional fatigue, or the slow erosion of self-worth. You might start questioning yourself. Am I too much? Am I needy? Am I asking for too much? Why does this matter to me more than it seems to matter to them? Let's be very clear about something important. Caring deeply is not the problem. Caring deeply in an emotionally asymmetrical relationship is. Studies on attachment styles show that people who care more often lean toward anxious or anxious-leaning secure attachment. This means your nervous system prioritizes closeness, communication, and emotional safety. When paired with someone more avoidant or emotionally detached, the imbalance becomes amplified. One person seeks connection under stress. The other withdraws. The more one cares, the more the other distances, and the cycle feeds itself. This dynamic can make you feel like your care is the issue, when in reality, it's the mismatch. Another reason it sucks to be the one who cares more is because you often give others the benefit of the doubt while denying it to yourself. You explain their behavior with compassion. They're stressed. They didn't mean it. They're busy. They're struggling. Meanwhile, you scrutinize your own needs as if they're excessive or inconvenient. This pattern is deeply linked to early emotional conditioning. If you learned that love was something you had to earn, you may subconsciously believe that being understanding is the price of connection, that your role is to accommodate rather than be accommodated. And the tragedy is that the more understanding you are, the less visible your pain becomes. People assume you're fine because you handle things well. You communicate calmly. You don't explode. You don't make dramatic exits. You stay. And staying is often misinterpreted as strength without cost. But internally, staying while caring more creates grief. Grief for the version of the relationship you keep hopping for. Grief for the reciprocity you imagine but rarely experience. Grief for how deeply you show up and how rarely that depth is matched. Now here's a truth that may be uncomfortable but necessary. Sometimes people don't rise to meet your level of care because they don't have access to it within themselves. Emotional depth requires self-awareness, vulnerability, and often healing. Not everyone has done that work, and not everyone is willing to. This doesn't make them villains, but it does mean you may be asking the wrong person to meet you where you are. One of the hardest psychological shifts for people who care deeply is learning that understanding someone's limitations doesn't obligate you to suffer within them. You can empathize without overextending. You can love without abandoning yourself. You can care without carrying the entire emotional weight of a connection. And this brings us to the burning question we promised to answer. Is being the one who cares more a weakness, or is it a misunderstood form of emotional power? Here's the answer. Being the one who cares more is not a weakness. It is emotional capacity. It is depth. It is nervous system sensitivity. It is the ability to connect, attune, and love fully. The suffering doesn't come from caring. It comes from giving that care in places where it is not received, reciprocated, or respected. The real power emerges when you redirect that care. When you stop proving your worth through overgiving. When you stop negotiating for emotional presence. When you stop shrinking your needs to maintain connection. Caring becomes strength when it includes yourself. The moment you choose relationships where your care is met, not exploited, not minimized, not taken for granted, everything changes. Your nervous system softens. Your mind quiets. Your love feels lighter. And the pain you once associated with caring begins to dissolve. You were never too much. You were just giving too much to places that gave too little back. If this video resonated with you, subscribe to this channel for more deep psychological explorations of emotions, relationships, attachment, and healing. There is nothing wrong with your depth. The world simply hasn't taught you where to place it yet. And now that you know, you don't have to suffer the same way again.